Men, and as usual, I use the term loosely. We got here something just a little bit different for me anyway. 2020 FXST. It's got the mini ape hanger handlebars, and we're going to get rid of those and putting something a little more low and pullbacky kind of on there. On these newer bikes, they run the harnesses through the handlebars, which is nice, much cleaner. I'm sure it's going to make changing these handlebars out a giant pain in the ass though. We're going to disconnect the battery. The battery is under here somewhere. You can't even see the son of a bitch. Anyway, we're going to disconnect the battery to start out with, and we're going to take the gas tank off so it don't get scratched, and we'll get humping. Did I say take the battery out? I just lied to you. The battery is actually right there. I don't see an easy path to getting that son of a bitch out of there. There is one terminal I could get to right here, and I hope that's negative. I don't know whether it is or not, so let's look a voltmeter up and see what we got. Okay, 0 volts to ground, so that would mean this is the negative, and it looks like I could feed a screwdriver right down through the top, so that's what I'm going to do. Screwdriver going in. There is like one little channel that a screwdriver could be inserted in. Okay, the machine is now electrically safe. Let's see if I could do this without fucking the gas tank up. Damn! Oh, damn! I feel the presence of Loctite. Loctite is evil. Bolts are loose. Alright, well here I go, learning something by accident. I don't always tell people to use the service manual. I learned that blob on the top of the bike over there is not actually a gas tank, it's a fuel tank. But anyway, I suspected there was going to be some wiring to disconnect on it because it's got a fuel pump in it, of course, being fuel injected. And I had seen the connection on the bottom of the tank, gas tank, and was fixing to try to pull it off. And I consulted the manual and found out that there's a little pigtail that goes forward to an electrical disconnect up front and under. So pull that off of there and the tank should come right off. Boom, and there you have it. Came right off. Really no problem. Did have to kind of lift it up and pull it back a little bit to get to the connector, but came off no problem. Probably should have videoed it, but I didn't. Oh well. Okay, we got a big old gob of wire. There's 5 harnesses, as near as I could tell, that run up into the handlebars. I assume I'm going to have to unpin all these bastards. Well, take all the connectors out, unpin them all, you know, pull them out of the handlebars and run them back through. It looks pretty tedious, it looks pretty boring. Anyway, that's the next part of this job. All right, without too much finagling, The handlebar harness is disconnected from the motorcycle. I assume that these twisted pair are data bus wires going to the computer. Data bus wires are usually twisted. The rest of these, God only knows. I only marked one of them. Well, I marked this one because these two guys are identical. Purple, blue, and black. The other ones I assume are idiot proof. We'll see who the idiot is in a little while. Anyway, here's the gob of shit. What a mess. Well, actually, this is fairly well organized. And I assume Harley does this because, they build the frame, and as it's going down the assembly line, they want to be able to put any handlebar front end combination on there. So, this much of the harness and back is the same. And then the other part up to the handlebars is going to be different depending on how long it needs to be. So we're going to get the hand grips and levers and stuff off. Hopefully I won't have to break into a hydraulic system. On to that next. Okay, so here's the whole gob of wires. The idea here is to pull them all up through the hole in the top triple clamp and get them on the top side of the triple clamp. That way when I take off the top handlebar clamp, the whole thing will come off in one piece. That's the goal anyway. My favorite tool in the whole world, the hooked nose booger picker. Technically, Snap-on calls this a cotter pin remover. I've used it for all kinds of things, but I don't think I've ever taken a cotter pin out with it. We're going to hook this wire bundle, hopefully, and pull it through the hole. There we go. Oh, they got these three clamped together. Cut the zip tie without cutting the wires. New goal in life. Okay, that's it. 4 screws and the handlebars should come off as one assembly. Geez, that wasn't bad at all. Here we go. Last bolt coming out. Here's where I try to hang on to the handlebars with my armpit. Okay. It all lifts free. Good deal. I'm looking at this thing. I think the connectors are all small enough and the holes all big enough that I might be able to pull this through without having to unpin and repin all of these little bastards. That is going to be nice. So let's take some more apart. If any of you guys have messed with old Harley switchgear, this is amazing. This is really nice. I'm going to consult the manual about getting the throttle grip off. I'm sure that's expensive. This throttle by wire thing is all really pretty new to me. I've never worked on one before. I looked in the manual, of course, and I didn't really see anything that specifically addressed how to get this off. I didn't see how to get the guts out of this thing, but what I found was that if you just push on it a little bit, boop, it pops right off of there. And then the other thing I found was that if you just pry on it a little bit right here, boop, that pops right out of there. You know, I'm handling this all very carefully. Believe me, these things are probably $400. I don't want to screw it up, and I don't want to have to buy a new one from Harley. Yeah, much to my surprise, just a little prying on this thing and it popped right out of there. I was expecting to, have to deal with some kind of secret hidden pins or clips or something, but it was just kind of snapped in and it came right out. Now all I got to do is find the other ends of the wires, push them up through there, and hopefully pull the thing right out. Okay, with a little cajoling and a little persuasion, the right side harnesses came right out of there. I didn't have to unpin any connectors. The connectors came all the way out through the hole, so that is going to make this a lot easier. So let's go ahead and take the left side apart. Oh, there goes one screw. Oh, there goes the other screw. And of course, drop both screws. Okay, take that back. Only dropped one screw. So let's see if this side comes out as easy. Looks like it'll be even easier. And that's it. The wire harnesses have been disgorged from the handlebars. Next challenge, stuff them in the new handlebars. All right, I'm just going to try to slip it in there. Not going to use a pull wire. We'll see if it works. Great. Let's see, where's my booger picker at? Alright, that was pretty easy. For the wires in the switch module, I think I am going to use a pull wire, just because now that there's this harness in there already, the handlebar's kind of full, so it's going to make it a little tougher to pull the next couple through. Alright, I decided to change my strategy a little bit. I had the throttle transducer already strung. I pulled it out. I decided I'm going to pull them both through at once. And the reason for that is when I put the pull wire in, I thought it got twisted around the throttle wire. So I want to be able to move them independently of each other if need be. And I wouldn't be able to do that if they were twisted around each other. So we're going to pull them both at once, and hopefully they'll go in as easy as they came out. Let's see what happens. Well, they're coming through. But I tell you what, so far so good. That really could not have gone any better. Cool. Hi, for the left side, I'm just going to try to stuff these through together with no pull wire. It's not a long way to go, and there's curves aren't very sharp. Let's see if it'll work or not. Trying to hook them and pull them out of there without damaging anything. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Not just for smoking weed. There we go. Cool. Alright, we install everything. And as you might expect, assembly is assembly is disassembly reversed, except you need extra 4 or 5 hands. And so now I got to reach in my pocket and grab my Allen wrench without anything falling out. Yeah, come on. Whoops. Well, I think that'll work. Piece of cake. Shove all the wires back in the holes and we'll be done. Okay, just to catch you up, reassembly has been going well. And of course, reassembly is, you know, the reverse of disassembly. One thing I had to do that I didn't want to do was disconnect the brake line over here. This bike has ABS on it, and if you read the manual, Harley tells you got to have a computer to bleed the brakes. And apparently the computer, well, at least from what I read, you know, you press the brake lever so many times, you open a bleeder valve, you release the brake, and yada yada. It tells you exactly what to do. But when I broke this loose, I had the, you know, the banjo pointing sideways and the master cylinder vertically. So I probably lost but a drop or two of fluid. When I hooked this back up, I held the master cylinder so that it was vertical, straight up in the air. And whatever drop that was in here, you know, floated to the top of the reservoir. A couple of strokes with the handle and it, you know, forced that last little bubble of air out, and, you know, the handle's as hard as a rock, so it's good to go. Last thing, I got a bunch of wires over here I got to figure out how to hook back up again. That'll be the hardest part, and I'll see you when I'm done with that. Yeah, how do you like that for a fang-dangle gob of wires? Jeez Louise. And all that shit's got to be squeezed up and shoved inside the frame. And let me tell you something else right now. They are not idiot-proof. And I'm just the idiot to prove it to you. There are several of these connectors that are absolutely identical. They're all keyed the same way. You can hook them up any way you want. So they're not idiot-proof. Word to the wise. What makes it even more interesting is the wires on one side of a connector are not necessarily the same color going out of the other end of the connector. It's a little tricky. You can figure it out, sort of. And you got this little doodad hanging over here that's not connected to anything. Believe me, I went into a little bit of a panic attack. If you've got a service manual and the wiring diagram, you can figure it out. So let's take a look at that and I'll show you. Oh, without going into too much great detail, these two were the two that had me shit in the bed a little bit. Wire number 1, red and orange. Wire number 1, red and orange. Wire number 2, black and green. Wire number 2, black and green. Wire number 3, WR, must be, oh yeah, white and red. Wire number 3, white and red. And wire number 4, white and black, white and black. They're the same colors. Jeez Louise, so what do you do then? Well, it tells you see backbone harness 1 of 3, which happens to be over here. Anyway, here is the motorcycle side of this connector, or the one connector, and the motorcycle side of the other connector. Here's your red and orange. Goes over here. Black dot means it's connected. Here's your red and orange. Black dot means it's connected. So they go to the same place. Black and green. Black dot means they're connected. Black and green. Black dot means they're connected. W and R, white and red. This is where I go cross-eyed. Black dot means they're connected. White and red. Black dot means they're connected. And then the last one, white and black. Black dot means they're connected. White and black. Black dot means they're connected. So you get two different switch bundles, one on each handlebar, right and left, and they're all connected to the same place. The way this computer shit usually works is when you press one of these buttons, you provide a discrete input into the computer, and depending where the discrete input is wired in the computer, it'll tell it turn a headlight on, turn a headlight off, turn a turn signal on, turn a turn signal off. But I'm a little confused as to how you could have a discrete input on one handlebar and a discrete input on the other handlebar connected together, and yet they tell the computer to do two different things. I'd kind of like to know that, but I don't want to know it bad enough to stop and figure it out right now. Anyway, I just took my chances on these two, hooked them up, whichever one was closest to the plug, to the socket on the plug, and it worked. I'm tempted to try to reverse them to see if it matters, because looking at this diagram, it shouldn't matter which one is which. But I'm not going to do that. I got it working. I turned it on. Everything's working the way it's supposed to work. I'm not going to risk letting the smoke out now, that's for sure. Well, let's see if it runs. I'll take that. I'm going to dump the oil on this one, put some fresh oil in it, and we'll take it out for a ride. Wow, first impressions. I think the bike is immensely better looking with the lower handlebars. Much better looking. It had those mini ape hangers on there, and I really didn't care for them. Much better. Of course, I didn't do it for the way it looks. I did it because the mini 8-peggers were uncomfortable as hell. So let's take it for a ride, see how it goes.